Hello and welcome to another Chartered Career Chat episode. Delighted today to have Caroline McGroary join us. Caroline, welcome. Thank you so much for coming along and taking part.
Thank you so much, Sinead, for having me.
Not a problem. It's brilliant to have you join us. And rather than me provide any introduction, Caroline, what would be lovely is if you fill us in terms of where you're up to now in your chartered career.
Okay, well, again, it's such a privilege to be here with you today, just to be able to talk a little bit about my journey to date. So I suppose currently I am working as a lecturer in accounting with Dublin City University. But just to tell you a little bit about how I got here, I suppose I started off with a degree in accounting and finance in Sligo IT. From there, I did my master's in accounting in NUI Galway, and then I joined Deloitte in their audit financial services department, where I trained as a chartered accountant. And during that time, I suppose I was always very, very interested in accountancy, but equally I was really interested in education. So I suppose during my undergrad and my master's, and then equally when I was in Deloitte, I would have got engaged with a lot of tutorials and just the professional training. So that really gave me, I suppose, the insight into the education side of accountancy. And I was really, really lucky when I finished my training contract in Deloitte. I was offered a position in DCU in the accounting group as a lecturer, and that's ultimately where I'm still working. So I've been 10 years working as an academic now in DCU, and it really has been just an amazing journey so far.
Oh, that's quite beautifully for you then.
Yeah, it's great, yeah.
And did you know from a young age you wanted to be, a chartered accountant, or what was it that got you onto that path and into Sligo IT to study?
Yeah, so I suppose Leaving Cert, accountancy and business studies were the two subjects that I was really interested in. But as I said, I also had, this inkling that I really wanted to be in education as well. So when I was in Sligo IT, I have to say I had some absolutely amazing mentors there, and they were chartered accountants themselves. So I had, of course, been talking to them quite a bit about the fact that I was obviously very interested in accountancy, but equally had the interest in education. So their advice to me, which I followed, was that I should do the Chartered Accountancy qualification first, and that would just give me such a brilliant platform to do many different things, but education being one of them. So that's exactly what I did, and it's ultimately why I've ended up in the position I'm in today.
The rest is it.
Exactly.
So it's very much not the case, Caroline, as you're demonstrating, that the qualification restricts you to maybe a traditional accounting role, as folk might see it.
Absolutely not. And that's what it's an unbelievable platform, and it just gives you, I suppose, so many options when it comes to career paths. As I said, I could have went down the route, a more traditional route of accountancy, but equally have a great interest in that. But it gave me a really great opportunity to go down the academic route. But if you even look at my peer group, there's such a diversity of roles within my peer group. So, for example, well, obviously I'm the academic out of the group, but then one of my peers is a finance director in Facebook. Another is a consultant with McKinsey in New York. Another has set up their own business. So it really is, there's just such people take so many different paths once they have the qualification.
I'm aware there's an international strand to your role, Caroline. Will you tell me a bit more about the role and maybe that international piece?
Yes, there is. And again, been very privileged to have had the opportunity to have done what I've done. But with DCU, we opened a sister campus in Saudi Arabia in August 2013. So I was really lucky to be part of a group of 4 people who went out in August 2013 to set up a division of DCU Business School within the women's largest, the largest women's only university in the world, and it's housed in Saudi Arabia. So obviously the whole focus of that university is the education of women. So we set up a division of DCU Business School there, where we deliver 3 degree programs, so a degree in marketing, a degree in finance, and a master's in business administration. So I've been really lucky to be there from the very start. So 2013, I'm obviously in Ireland at the minute, but due to COVID, but that's predominantly where I am still working, is in Saudi Arabia. So it really has been, there's been so many, I suppose, just amazing opportunities being out there educating women. But again, all of that is as a result of having this qualification.
and you've been working on some really exciting projects. You know, I've had sight of along the way, and I believe a congratulations is in order for an award nomination today. Will you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so, and again, it's an award that has been, or it's a project, I should say, that has been, there's been a lot of different people involved in it. But basically, the project is all about developing the financial literacy levels of Saudi women, because they're a group that are at real risk of financial exclusion. So over the last year, I designed an initiative which was all centered around the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And the focus was to basically educate women in financial literacy. So by doing that, it actually addressed two of the goals. So SDG 4, which is quality education, and SDG 5, which is gender equality. So from that, then obviously I designed the initiatives and then went and sought the support of a number of different industry partners. And one of the biggest supporters of it was Chartered Accountants Ireland and Chartered Accountants Worldwide. And having those two institutions back it actually gave me the platform to approach a lot of other sponsors. So it got support from Deloitte Middle East. It also got support from the Saudi Central Bank. Equally, the Saudi ambassador to the United States, Princess Rima bint Bandar Al Saud. So these are really high-profile people in Saudi. So yeah, so as a result, then it obviously had a huge impact just socially, and it got a lot of attention. So I was delighted today to be nominated for 2 awards in DCU. So it was the DCU President's Award for Engagement and the DCU President's Award for Innovation.
Absolutely incredible, Caroline. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sinead.
If we maybe look at the qualification in a wee bit more detail, many see it as a wider business leadership qualification. What's your views on that?
So I suppose if you look at, what the qualification is itself. So as a trainee accountant, part of the education, the professional education, is that you develop technical competence, but equally that you develop a broad series of skills which are really, really important for business leadership. And if you look at, say some of the CEOs and some of the top companies, a lot of them have the Chartered Accountancy qualification. So while I think it puts you in an amazing position to be a business leader, it's not just a business leadership qualification, it's so much broader than that. And what's actually very interesting is my PhD is in the area of professional accounting education. So I've had the privilege and the opportunity to really look at this in detail. And as I said, it's not just developing a series of just business leadership skills. It really is a lot more than that. There's a real, just in terms of the technical competence that you develop as a chartered accountant, it really does give you a huge platform to do so many different things.
Do you think having a qualification has an impact on career progression?
Absolutely, yeah, and I have really found that in my role as an academic. And some people might look at an academic role and say, well, how does the Chartered Accountancy qualification translate across? But it really does, because you're not only in a classroom teaching the technical skills of accounting. You're equally, like if I look at my role in Saudi Arabia, it's really important that we are heavily engaged with industry. So because networking is such a huge part of what you do as a chartered accountant, it just gives you that platform and that skill set to be able to progress through your career. And as I said, many of the things that I've ended up doing in Saudi, so for example, I'm very involved with the business networks over there with the different embassies. And as I said, from an industry engagement perspective, I've had a huge opportunity to link in with really big organizations. And a lot of that has come from the credibility of the qualification and just, again, the platform that it gives you.
And thinking maybe of characteristics or traits, Caroline, maybe you should possess if they're considering this profession, do any come to mind for you?
So again, I think it's the sort of qualification that it helps you develop so many different skills. But what I have seen, throughout my time, I suppose I've worked with so many students now, between my time in DCU Dublin and my time in DCU Saudi Arabia, and a lot of them pursuing the Chartered Accountancy qualification. And what I always come back to is, if the person is determined and willing to work hard, they are, to me, the most important skills with anything you pursue. And it's amazing then what people achieve when they actually just, when they're, really focused on their goals and are willing to work hard. And as I said, if you even just look at your own peer group, you can see, you know, the fruits of that labour across the board. So I know it really goes for any job, but in particular within the Chartered Accountancy qualification, I do see if you're willing to work hard and really, I suppose, just invest in the time in the qualification, you will absolutely be successful. And like I said, I've seen so many students come through that don't have a background in accountancy at all and are really, really successful, you know, getting the qualification and then in their future careers. So that to me is one of the most important skills. Yeah.
And thinking of the qualification, Caroline, is it something you would recommend, even, you know, from your own personal reflection and then to your students? You know, is chartered accountancy something you would highly encourage folk to pursue?
Absolutely. If you talk to any of my students, Sinead, they would tell you I'm always talking about the platform that it has given me, and you know, just showing them all the different options that's available to them. So 100% I would be an advocate of the qualification. And as I said, I feel very privileged to have had the journey so far that I've had, because it really has taken me to places I never ever thought I would be, and has given me so many different opportunities. And as I said, even based on that initiative that I ran last semester, I know obviously we're a little bit restricted with travelling at the minute with COVID, but that particular initiative, I've been invited to present at 2 different conferences. So one of them is in Canada, and it's the Academy of Management Conference, which is one of the top conferences for management education. And so again, it's just it just shows you the diversity of things that you can do with a qualification like accountancy. And just supposed to elaborate on that a little bit. I'm currently not just teaching accounting, I'm also teaching business strategy. So as I said, it's the training that I got as an accountant, and equally doing the professional exams, because we all know the professional exams are case study based. So you're not just looking at one element of a business, you're looking at, you need those broad skills, the technical skills, but equally the broad skills to apply across a business. So that has positioned me very well to teach business strategy. And as I said, that is the conference that I've been invited to present at and present this financial literacy initiative at. So it's just been great. Yeah.
Caroline, thank you so much for sharing all of that today. It's fascinating and amazing to hear the very journey that you've had. So we really appreciate your time, and thanks again for contributing to our Chartered Career Chat series.
Thank you so much, Sinead.